Good morning, children. In the previous classes we discussed transport system in lower organism and higher organism, and today we'll discuss transport system in plants. Okay, so in plants transport of substances takes place with the help of vascular bundles. Okay, so vascular bundle consists of xylem and phloem. Okay, so xylem helps in the transport of water from the roots to all the parts of the plant body, and phloem helps in the transport of food material from the leaves to all the parts of the plant body. Okay, so this we have learned in the 9th class, that xylem conducts water from the roots to all parts and phloem conducts food material from the leaves to all the parts. Okay, now we will see how this transport of water takes place. Okay, so now transport of water takes place with the help of xylem. Okay, so when you water the plant, the salt present in the soil dissolves and becomes dilute salt solution. Okay, and then this water is absorbed by the root hairs, by the cells of root hairs. Okay, so by the process called imbibition. Okay, so water from the soil enters into the root by the process called imbibition. Here in this diagram you can see these are the soil particles. Okay, and the water present in the soil particles is absorbed by the root hairs. You can see this yellow like structure. This is root hairs. Okay, so water from the soil particle is absorbed by the root hairs by the process called imbibition. Understood? And then from this root hair arises from the single layer epidermis. Okay, and then from the root hair it passes to the epidermis. From the epidermis it passes to cortex, then endodermis, and then pericycle, and then xylem. Okay, so the fluid present in these cells is called cell sap. Okay, cell sap is a concentrated salt solution. Okay, it is so concentrated, in fact you can call it salt. Okay, so now the water from the root hair enters the epidermis, and from epidermis till pericycle it enters by the process called osmosis. Okay, so osmosis, again we have learned it before. Osmosis is the movement of ions or molecules from the higher water concentration to lower water concentration. Okay, so higher water concentration is dilute solution and lower water concentration is concentrated. So osmosis takes place from the higher water dilute solution to concentrated solution through semi-permeable membrane. Okay, and then the cells or the membrane of any living cell is a semi-permeable membrane. Okay, and so with the help of osmosis it enters till the pericycle. Okay children, and then see here also I have written water from the soil enters the root hair by imbibition, then from the root hair by osmosis, and then the salt solution dissolved in the water, that is solute, is absorbed by the roots by mineral salts entered by active absorption. Okay, so it enters, water enters along with the mineral salt till the pericycle. Understood? Then from pericycle it enters into the xylem. Okay children, the walls of the xylem is made up of lignin and cellulose. Okay, this lignin and cellulose has great attraction for water molecule. So the physical and the chemical property of both the lignin cellulose, that is the wall, the composition of wall of the xylem and the water molecule helps the plant to absorb the water from the soil. Okay, so now a thin layer of water is formed. Okay, a thin layer of water is formed on this xylem wall. Understood children? See, these are the xylems. This is lignin deposition. Okay, on the xylem. Okay, and then from there the tracheids and vessels form a lignified wall here till the leaves. Okay, you can see a pipeline connection is formed. Okay, so the movement of water from the roots to the parts of the plant above the soil is called ascent of sap. Understood? So what is ascent of sap children? The movement of water from the parts of the plant below the soil, that is roots. From the roots to the parts of the plant above the soil, that is the stem, branches and leaves against the gravitational force. Understood? Is called ascent of sap. Understood, children? And then how this ascent of sap takes place. Okay. For this, again there are 3 steps, children, and several studies were made by several scientists also. It is against the gravitational force, so it is a complicated process. Okay. So adhesive and coercive force, root pressure and transpiration pull helps the water to move from the roots to all the parts of the plant body through xylem. Understood? So first one is adhesive force and coercive force. Okay. So adhesive force is the force of attraction between the xylem wall and the water molecules. Okay. Because of the adhesive force, a thin layer of water molecule is formed on this xylem wall. Okay. And then this water molecule has great force of attraction, that is called coercive force, okay, between the water molecule. So coercive force is a force of attraction between the water molecule due to the formation of hydrogen bonding, okay, and like that more and more water molecules are absorbed, children, and then it is passed through this wall. This is vessels and tracheids. The dead cells in the xylem forms the wall and reaches the mesophyll cells of the leaves. Understood? And then these are the intercellular spaces in the leaves, and this is upper epidermis, this is lower epidermis, palisade parenchyma and spongy parenchyma. You can see here xylem. This is mesophyll cells. Understood, children? Then the water potential of air in these intercellular spaces is much higher than the requirement or water potential in the outside. Understood? So more and more water gets absorbed and then reaches the mesophyll cells. Okay, and then water is again evaporated through this stomata. This is stomata, children. Okay, this is stomata. Follow? It is evaporated and more water is absorbed. Okay. So next one is root pressure. What is adhesive force, children? Force of attraction between the xylem wall and the water molecule. Then coercive force is force of attraction between the water molecules. Okay. Due to the formation of hydrogen bond. And next one is a root pressure. Okay. So root pressure is the pressure exerted by water molecule absorbed by roots. Okay, and then this root pressure is enough to supply water in herbs and shrubs, mostly herbaceous plants, children. Okay, very small plant, but there are plants more than 80 meters and still higher. Okay, so the redwood tree of California measures about 100 meters to 120 meters. Okay, so how does water transport in such a higher plant, children? Okay, that is because of transpiration pull. Both root pressure and transpiration pull helps in the transport of water in higher plants. Okay, so plants use only 2% of water. How much water you put, however water you put, or there is a strong rain also, but water uses only 2% of water and the rest of the water is lost in the form of water vapor through stomata. That is called as transpiration. Understood, children? It is called transpiration. Transpiration is very important. If transpiration does not take place, the carbon dioxide in the plant becomes much higher, heat production becomes more, and the whole tree or the plant dries off as it is. Okay, so transpiration must take place. Understood, children? Root pressure and transpiration helps in the transport of water in higher plants. Okay, so as the water is lost through stomata, children, stomata, more and more water is absorbed. Okay, then a suction pressure is created in this xylem. Okay, that is called as transpiration pull, and due to the transpiration pull, the water is absorbed, evaporated. Okay, and thus it reaches all the parts of the plant body. So xylem helps in the transport of water from the roots to all the parts of the plant body, and it is unidirectional. Okay, it is a straight unidirectional. Understood, children? Next we will go to the transport of food material. We have already learned that plants synthesize their own food utilizing carbon dioxide, water, sunlight and chlorophyll, and the leaves are called the food factory. Okay, so food is synthesized in the leaves and transported to all the plants of the plant body through phloem. That is called as translocation. Okay, so what is translocation? Transport of food material from the leaves to all the parts of the plant body through phloem. Okay, and then a scientist named Munch. Okay, Munch in the year 1930. Okay, children, 1930 propounded mass flow hypothesis, and he explained how the food transports from the leaves to all the parts of the plant body. Okay, so he said that this food is transported due to the osmotic mechanism. Okay, so what is that osmotic mechanism, children? So he conducted an experiment. He took two chambers, chamber A and chamber B, made up of semi-permeable membrane connected with tube T. Okay, and then he kept it in a reservoir of water. So this is a interconnected reservoir. Okay, and then he said that chamber A consists of concentrated solution, and then the water from the reservoir enters into this chamber due to end osmosis. Okay, due to end osmosis, and thereby the turgor pressure in this chamber increases. Okay, due to the increase in the pressure, the food material from this is transported through tube T into the B. Okay, so he said that where the food is synthesized is called source, and where it is required is called as sink. Okay, so mass flow hypothesis explains the transport of organic solute from the site of source to the site of sink. Okay, and thus even in the germinating seeds also, he said that the transport of food material takes place from the cotyledons to the radicals and the plumule. Okay, so this is the source because the reserved food material is present in the seed here. Okay, and this is the sink because the food is required here. Understood, children? And this we know that. So this is how the food material transports from the source to sink. Okay, so now the carbohydrate synthesized in the mesophyll cells. Okay, mesophyll cells is transported to the non-green areas. Okay, to the non-green areas. Thereby the osmotic pressure in the mesophyll cells increases. Okay, this osmotic pressure makes the neighboring cell absorb water. Understood, children? When the water is absorbed into the mesophyll cells, the turgor pressure increases. Okay, and then turgor pressure increases and makes the food pass through sieve tubes and sieve cells. Okay, sieve tube, sieve cells and companion cells are the living cells present in the phloem. Okay, through which the food material passes. Understood, children? The carbohydrates present in the mesophyll cells are utilized by the non-green areas of the plant cells. Thereby the osmotic pressure increases. The osmotic pressure makes the cells absorb water from the neighboring cells. Thereby the turgor pressure increases, and then turgor pressure makes the food move from the site of synthesis, that is source, to the sink. Okay, so the movement of food takes place from the source to sink due to the turgor pressure gradient. Understood? And materials appear to move very slowly through phloem, children. That is from 60 centimeters to 100 centimeters per hour. Okay, so this movement of food material is very slow, and the energy requirement in the plant is also very less because most of the cells in the plant are the dead cells. Okay, so this is how xylem helps in transport of water to all the parts of the plant body. It is unidirectional, and phloem helps in the transport of organic solute, that is food material, from the leaves to all the parts of the plant body, and it is multi-directional. This is one of the most important questions asked in previous last year's paper 2017 and 2018 paper, children. How the movement of water and food material takes place in unidirectional and multi-direction. Okay, so you have to explain about xylem and phloem. Okay, so this is how the food movement takes place. This is also very important. Munch's mass flow hypothesis. It was propounded in the year 1930. He explained that the transport of food material takes place from the site of source, that is synthesis, to the requirement, that is sink, through sieve cells, sieve tubes and companion cells, okay, present in the phloem. Okay, so this is how transport of substances takes place in the plants. Now note down this one. Okay, so this is the part of the root below the soil and this is above the soil. Okay, so here I will be writing children, this is soil. Okay, note down this. This is xylem, this is phloem. Thank you.